What a gamer.
Absolutely shredded. Very nice. Looking in fine form, both mentally and physically. But also I'm seeing some intense focus on the faces of Havoc, tie23he, and I'm Exile. They are taking their marks. They're spamming their hotkeys, getting everything set up, getting their hotkeys and everything in order.
Oh, yeah.
Getting comfortable. Here we go. Whatever they need to focus themselves in these final 30 seconds. This is when, like, the nerves reach their peak right here.
Oh, this is when the focus reaches
the focus
peak.
Yes, all right. So now what we're seeing here on stage is what they're playing Rangers. What the players are going to be doing is what's called muling, which is effectively they roll a character, in this case the Ranger, in order to get a few specific things to give their subsequent
tie23he? He dropped his burning arrow. Okay, those are, listen, every single second is going to count, and those are seconds that do count. I do remember in the last 엑자일콘, there was a little bit of a problem for tie23he. He described the dropping a transmute and not being able to pick it up immediately as a difficult moment for him. So
a little bit of sweaty fingers there at the beginning.
Oh, maybe he was asserting dominance, you know?
Maybe. Some sort of strange flex. But we are seeing the players on the Rangers right now. They're going to be taking down the first boss Hillick, getting themselves a crucial momentum support, which they'll be using in combination with Leap Slam on their next character, and hopefully some very nice gear drops. I did see a transmutation for tie23he there. Very nice. And a couple rare items actually dropping as well. So that early loot can make a pretty big difference. The characters need a lot of different currency and items, and especially sockets. Getting some early blue links, I did see some nice blue links there for Havoc actually, can be crucial. The players need a red-green link for Leap Slam and momentum. They also need some blue sockets and some red sockets for the early game here as well. And with the way the vendors are at the moment, they can be quite static and it can be difficult to get some of those sockets that they need for the skills that they're going to use, and that can be quite tough. So now you've seen that the players have jumped over to Templar after just finishing that Ranger, stashing everything in the stash, and then logging out. Now that they're on the Templar, they'll be able to do this little run again here and actually go and retrieve that gear so that they can take it forwards into the actual race proper. So we are seeing everyone's on Templar, no unexpected surprises there.
If you're going to be racing, you want to be racing on the best setup. Although there was a lot of conversation about Duelist potentially being faster, but the thing about Duelist is that it's kind of driven by RNG. Not a whole lot of RNG when it comes to the Templar gameplay, but there is one thing that might end up being a big deal, and that would be a Chance Orb or a Fusings to buy that Chance Orb and get Cremation. But we're going to talk about that more once we are in Act 3, but just keep that in mind as the players are already preparing for it.
I like seeing some unidentified boots for tie23he.
Let's
nice
go.
Early movement speed can make a big difference. Long term, it doesn't actually... Oh, Ty fumbling a little bit with the stash there. Maybe a little bit of nerves. Misclicking several times in a row, but he's okay. He's got there. But yeah, Leaps, in this particular racing meta right now, movement speed not as big a deal, but if you do manage to get some early, it can make a pretty big difference. And that's because the players are leap slamming and using a lot of movement skills here. Frostbeak leap slam long term. But I didn't get any move speed there for tie23he that I saw, and I don't see any boots on tie23he or I'm Exile, so no major advantages there. And on Havoc we did see a white pair of boots, but it has got that 3 blue linked sockets, which is very handy for getting those early skills set up. So what you'll see is currently rolling Magma linked to Elemental Proliferation just to get things started here. It's got really good damage, you can do some multi-hits with the bouncers, and you've got those Elemental Proliferations just to help with that pack clear a little bit. Moving into a dangerous zone here, Rise.
100%. So much importance in that positioning when it comes to the Magma Orb. But as we say that, we are in Mudflats. And like Ziggy mentioned, this is a difficult zone. I can see blue mobs on tie23he's screen. Keep in mind that they are not, in fact, fire resistant, but will be very difficult to deal with. And most importantly, very time consuming to deal with. They might drop some items. These players do need a ton of transmutes for later on in Act 3 for a recipe, but also right now to buy all their gems. Maybe they can get a lightning warp. Those are very important things for some of the skips later on. And as you can see, there's a lot going on each of these players' screens. They're really maxing out their APM, trying to go as fast as possible. There's so many things to take care of. But what's most important in this zone is survivability. So you want to get evasion, you want to get armor. Oh, a transmute for tie23he. He's definitely going to backtrack for that. That's a very important item, as Exile in the bottom left is struggling right now with all of these Roas. So many white and blue Roas as he runs past what I believe is a 3-link. These players' filters are set up to the maximum. They're really min-maxed. They're always telling them what's dropping and what they need and don't need to backtrack for. Very important aspect of this race.
Yeah, literally customized filters with specific audio cues for specific items, even down to things like actual sockets and weapon setups. And this is an actual, like, really interesting and unusual racing meta that we have right now as well. Different from anything that I've seen in Path of Exile history, where players are playing a spellcaster and leap slamming with melee weapons, despite still spellcasting, and that's thanks to some rather unique and interesting passive skills and some interesting crafting options that the players can take advantage of here, as well as a recent change to leap slam momentum, and it all comes together to create a actually a really
good Exile. What is happening on his screen? There's just so many blue mobs, but he's taking care of them wonderfully. Those double taps from the Magma Orb. Wow, that was really, really well played by Exile. It's a very difficult pack of mobs to deal with. And some players might be listening to this and they're like, why aren't they talking about Havoc being in the lead? Well, he is. But there's so many things that these players have to take care of. There's so many things that they have to worry about that, depending on the sort of RNG that you're going to be getting at this stage of the game, you're going to be saving or losing a little bit of time. But you can already see that they are level 4. They do have their Frost Blink, which is very important for that animation cancel on the backswing of Leap Slam. And we've got Firewall in place as well to empower the Magma Orb and deal a little bit more damage. There's also a little bit of variety in these strategies that we're seeing from tie23he. You can see that he does have the banner, and tie23he also has the banner, but another thing that has been a big controversial subject is the fact that Havoc doesn't use Holy Flame Totem.
Yeah. Did he just acquire?
Oh, he just acquired. Whoa!
He's changed his mind, right?
He's changed his mind. Okay, see, that's what I like to hear, because in the qualifiers, he was pretty adamant about it being kind of a waste of time.
I was on board with that line of thinking. It does take a long time to put it down, and you've already got your other skills doing a lot of damage at this point, but you know, here we go. Just every little bit of extra damage squeezed out has been deemed worth it here. So, so we've got 3 fire skills. As you see, 2 of them shoot projectiles, and the flame walls can help boost that damage up. So there can be quite a bit of damage stacked. It's actually a really interesting skill setup and quite high skill ceiling, as the players need to position themselves and the totem and the flame wall correctly.
Chance Orb for tie23he. Exile has like 3 transmutes too. This energy is cranked up. I guess something that we haven't mentioned is that if you watch the qualifiers, you would know about this. This layout is set. They all have the exact same fixed seed layout, with one tiny itsy-bitsy exception.
Yes, Einhar. He's a troublemaker.
Yeah, we wouldn't call it a bug. It's more of a happy accident. So if you do see Einhar and you're wondering why is that zone different, well, it's because Einhar doesn't follow any rules.
He's a different kind of beast, so to speak. He does not follow the rules. He makes the zones however he sees fit. So if Einhar does appear in anyone's zone, their layout will be a little bit different as a result. But otherwise, all of the layouts are the same, and it comes down to getting what's called the read on the layout, and that's a crucial racing skill that is hard to see if you haven't watched a lot of Path of Exile, done some racing yourself. But there's so many different variations of each zone that they can be, and it's procedurally generated, but there are rules, there are tricks, there are all sorts of things that the players can learn for each and every layout that gives them a bit of a clue as to where the exit's going to be, where the crucial quest objectives are going to be, even things like where a pack of magical blue monsters might be, which is a lot of extra experience, for example.
Exactly so. And some players would argue that the layout reads really are the most crucial aspect of racing past a certain point. Obviously, it's incredibly mechanically demanding. Like, you can see exactly how much is happening on screen, how many things these players have to worry about. 3 transmutes and a Chance Orb for tie23he. You really love to see it. Exile doing great on those transmutes as well as players are heading over to Brutus. I don't think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of ascendancy during. Havok's screen freezes. What is happening? We're having a technical difficulty.
We do not want to see that. Hopefully we can get it squared away very quickly there.
Uh-oh.
We have a black screen.
That does not seem right. Havok restarting his game.
He's logging back in. We'll see if we can find anything about that soon. It was right at the very start of the zone. We'll see if we can find out any extra information about that in just a moment. But for the moment, tie23he and imexile have been making their way through the lower prison into the upper prison now. All of them pretty similar in terms of progression through the zones right now, with unfortunately Havok having to rerun that lower prison, as it looked like the instance did die and the zone was lost. Quite an upset, but definitely nothing that's going to keep him down. But right now, the race is very close.
The race is most definitely very close. I wonder if we're going to get some sort of ruling on this. I could see visibly how disappointed Havok was in the situation.
Yeah.
But if there's one player who can mentally recover from this and persevere, it is him. He really does have the experience. I fully believe.
I need a lag switch so that you can like manually lag everyone else if someone does lag, and just like even it out.
Yep, that would just saying, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right, we have imexile, tie23he, and tie23he.
Oh, rewarded with a chance orb. Sorry to intrude, Ziggy, but Havok gets rewarded with a chance orb, so
he's farming.
Yeah, no RNG for him. That's definitely going to help.
He's farming, that's it. We're moving into the Brutus fight now, which is a fight that's very big on... I talked about that positioning earlier with those skills and the player positioning, and the Brutus fight really rewards good positioning in terms of safety and also a lot more damage. If they can get the totem on the other side of that flame wall, the flame wall on them boss, themselves firing through the flame wall and double bounce hitting the boss, then they can maximize their damage and thus their safety. And we see an excellent kill from imexile, and tie23he only moments behind as well. tie23he kind of drawing Brutus into a corner here, and Brutus is moving around a lot more, which is slowing him down. If you can get him to stay in position, locked into one of his slam combos. It goes very low there with a chain pull. The flask is empty. He has no flasks whatsoever right now.
The only way he can heal is from the Holy Flame Totem.
The regen on the ground there, but he's just going to not get hit. That's his strategy. He does
that was close.
A bit close, tie23he. Making me quite nervous there, mate. He gets through, though. What a save. Very nicely done.
Yeah, but you can immediately see how difficult those fights are. Ty engaged Brutus before Exile and yet finished last. So how you perform in these fights can make a tremendous difference. And that being said, Havok fully caught up and ahead of tie23he, having already dealt with his Brutus. Yeah, some real good stuff. It doesn't seem to be having the most RNG. That game crash was incredibly unfortunate, and yet he's blasting.
Yeah,
this is the Havok that I know.
If you were worried about that little technical difficulty there, that little hiccup, then look at him go. Making that ground up very quickly. Very nice.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, Exile's getting an acceleration shrine. He picks it up. Every player gets the same amount of shrines. The only difference is going to be in the mob type and the mob density that the players are going to be getting. But when it comes to shrines,
they have to find it.
They have to find it.
If they don't find it,
I do believe. Well, it's
kind of right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got tie23he getting it as well. We'll see if tie23he and Havok also manage to get the same shrine, because acceleration shrine is certainly big for getting through a big open zone that essentially is just skipped like this. So all players will definitely want to pick up that same shrine, otherwise they're losing a little bit of time to those that did. But we see tie23he and imexile taking a little bit of a lead here in terms of progression. But as we were kind of hinting at earlier, Path of Exile Racing is very exciting because you never really know who's in the lead, and it sometimes can take until the last moments of the race until you know who's actually won it. Because while someone could be a zone or even 2 zones ahead, they might have skipped a lot of monsters, maybe missed some extra items and things like that that are going to hold them back a little bit later down the line, and that sort of thing can snowball as well.
Havok finds the acceleration and he finds a Quicksilver flask.
Another Quicksilver.
So it definitely helps. I mean, tie23he, we talked about how the movement speed isn't as important as it used to be because of the leap slam action, but tie23he repeatedly admitted in the past that he's a runner. You know, depending on the sort of playstyle that players have, some people really neglect movement speed and they only worry about sockets on those boots. But tie23he really likes running around. So if he were to be the one who got the Quicksilver, I think he would be very happy. But no, it's going to be Havok. You know, Chris turning on the RNG. after that technical issue.
That's it. In some zones, the movement speed is a big help when you can't quite really... Oh, a nice skip there for Havoc, actually.
Oh, let's go!
Yeah,
Havoc really cleaning it up.
Yeah, saving a solid 10, 15 seconds there with that skip, cutting the zone very short. Excellent. We're just getting some information here a little bit. I'm going to let Rise decipher that for the moment, while imExile moves into the Movavi fight, and tie23 also into the Movavi fight. Neck and neck here through the first phase. Halfway down, this can be a very tricky fight because she can be quite uncooperative in her positioning and teleporting and things like that. It's also quite a dangerous fight, getting mispositioned and eating barrage, and we have seen some of these players go down to the Movavi fight before, getting caught in one of the water pillars here in the second phase, and trying to jump out of the way and landing in the Screech of Movavi can do a lot of damage. There's also Chilling and the Exploding Squids. It's a nasty combination. So far doing well, but tie23 going quite low there, eating the edge of the Screech and kind of being caught against a pillar, but does manage to get out of there and scoops up quite a lot of rare loot, and the first kill as a result, with imExile only moments behind, not quite as much loot, but getting that kill squared away and moving into the jungle. Havoc is up next on the Movavi kill. Let's cheer him on and see how he goes in this first phase. I'm not sure if they're more concerned about the first or second phase. Both can be quite lethal, but I've seen more upsets in the second phase here, but very quick Movavi kills from Havoc here.
So clean, so good.
Ooh, kind of getting pushed off her a little bit in the second phase, second half of the second phase, but he gets back on her there, and she teleports in place, which is perfect. Yep. He gets a lot of loot too.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. He's got a full inventory. And this actually makes a big difference because the players need 8 transmutes for crucial crafts down the line we'll talk about later. So getting all those extra early rares to sell, you can identify a few good ones and sell unidentified a few others to get those transmute shards, which can be super crucial.
Yeah, and that inventory management is so important. You really never want to be spending any time on having your inventory be full and you're moving stuff around and picking it up. That's just not what you want to be seeing. Havoc gets a transmute, as tie23 still battling Merveil. It is very difficult to use your banner correctly to blast her away. And, you know, it might look a little bit slower, but really, I don't think so. It really just all depends on how much time he was spending in town to prep himself up for the future. And with that being said, he will be the last player to enter the most confusing of acts ever, Act 2. So in this one, players will be doing different things. There's going to be different strategies. We've definitely seen that in the qualifiers. Different players helping different bandits, prioritizing resistance, sometimes skill points. There's different breakpoints that you want to reach. It's very important that you optimize your XP. And something that helps with that is killing less monsters and getting more passives from quests. So Act 2 is a very crucial act in that regard. And let's try and pay attention as to how much is happening as tie23 runs into a giant shrine. And those bears are dangerous. We were talking about this earlier, but if you saw players losing HP very quickly when it came to Merveil, that's just because they're going so fast and they can't afford to spend the time to really improve their character from the defensive point of view. They just need to power it up as much as possible.
Havoc just farming a lot of currency here. He's got rare gloves, orb of chance, plenty of scrolls, and he's got another acceleration shrine in a rather crucial zone, the Chamber of Sins. That can be used to either get through the zone very quickly or farm up a lot of experience, as there is guaranteed and set magic monster packs in certain places in this zone that the players will know. And he uses it to get through that zone very quickly while scooping up a little bit of XP in the meantime. Looking very good there. And not everyone, people have had different zone clears these last few zones. It's been rather interesting.
Yeah, definitely so. Man, so many acceleration shrines, though.
We have almost tied kills for imExile and tie23 on Fidelitas there, with an acceleration shrine to speed things up a little bit. And Havoc and tie23 not too far behind. Havoc currently just about to head to the boss, and tie23 just a little bit of a zone behind in Chamber of Sins 1 now. He does manage to get that shrine as well.
Uh-oh.
Through to the second zone.
Exile sees Tai enter the riverways in front of him. I wonder how much of a motivating push that is.
I love it.
Yeah, you always love to see that. They are, in fact, playing on the same realm from the looks of it, so they are going to be seeing each other in town.
Oh! Just getting caught in a circle there. Fire.
That was so dangerous. If that was PoE2, he'd be dead.
He absolutely would have been. He would have been
the
so
stun runs are so deadly.
Absolutely brutal. He does. I mean, Path of Exile 1 still has some tricks up its sleeve, nonetheless, even after a decade of practice and play here from these players, some of them at least. But very nice escape there from IMXL. I love that he slammed down the banner during that very scary situation to get adrenaline, which is what that warbender is used for. Honestly, there's so many little details and nuances in the race that even if we speak 100 miles an hour like we are, we're not going to be able to cover all of them. But the banner slamming that down for the adrenaline is not something that all of them take advantage of, and IMXL did there to try and save themselves, and it looks like it just worked.
That is correct. Our players are going to be continuing a little bit of vendoring from tie23he, making sure that he's got everything that he needs, and you can see how quickly these players have to deal with that. Havok micromanaging his inventory, maybe a little bit upset after all that loot being left behind on Merveil, making sure that he's ready. He's always clicking, he's always running, and while doing so, you have to micromanage your inventory. It's a huge aspect of racing. The more time that you have, the more time you have to kill monsters. As IMXL runs into another blue pack. Very favorable blue packs for all players so far that we've seen. Nobody really falling behind on XP, and that, again, is a big factor here. Massive Shrine for tie23he as he engages Weaver. Will this be enough damage? That might be enough AoE. Oh, no. Oh, he drops the banner late, I think.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe he could have dropped it a little bit earlier, would have lasted just a split second longer. Might have allowed him to kill it.
Yeah,
same situation for Exile.
There was the day where people could get the kill on the first phase of the Weaver, but it's very hard to pull off nowadays. But,
it's quite random, yeah.
IMXL just taking the opportunity through the ad phase here, do a little bit of gear management and tactically organizing your inventory so that you can fit more items into it when the loot does drop, or just know where everything is and get those things socketed, get items crafted, all of that sort of stuff. There's so much stuff to manage on the fly, and you'll see players do things like click the vendor and then manage your inventory while they're running through town, and then while they're loading into the next zone. So all that sort of little shaving off moments here. But a nice Weaver kill for IMXL, a little longer, but he gets it done cleanly and gets a little bit of housekeeping done in the meantime. Havok also kind of taking the opportunity to do the same thing here. Looks like everybody that I saw got that massive shrine, so that does add a lot of safety to that Weaver fight, as it grants a lot of extra hit points.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. tie23he, interesting, I caught a couple times that he's been picking up a lot of blue items, but he just picked up a sword, which you can vendor blue items for either transmutes or alterations if you need them, but then immediately drop the transmute after. I wonder if he's gonna continue with the same strategy, as tie23he will be the first person to take down Creighton. That was a little bit of a strategy too. Some people were helping Creighton for the additional movement speed, but oh my god, with all these acceleration shrines, as you can see on IMXL's screen, yeah.
Looks like we've got another shrine race. We had one of the qualifiers where there was really a crazy amount of shrines, and it looks like we might be having a little bit of a repeat of that. A themed race, if you will. It's good old Domination League back for this race. Very cool. Havok moving into that Creighton fight and getting a double shrined up for a very safe and fast Creighton kill. We're seeing Path of Exile 1 boss kills for racing now are very fast, and we're seeing faster than ever with a lot of these shrines here. Very nice stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty good to get a record time.
Ooh, I'd love it.
Yeah.
I think I felt like we had that last time or something as well, like a record. I would love to see something like that once again.
Well, yeah, that's part of the game too, that probably something that these players need to get used to is how much faster all of the loading screens are and how much more smooth the game is when playing in a live setting. I do remember some of our past players mentioned how just clean and steady it is. I think they're getting a little bit stuck there. Trying to... Oh, he didn't have a lightning warp. There's a little bit of a strategy where you can jump with lightning warp to the Creighton area from just that ledge, but sometimes it's closed off, sometimes it's open, sometimes you don't have transmute, sometimes you have a lightning warp. tie23he
accidentally exited the game. Oh no, a little smirk there. He's back in there though, nice and quick. A little bit of a flick, but he gets it up and going very quickly. Very nice stuff. Yeah, trying to the players use logout as a feature to get back to town really quickly instead of using a portal scroll, which can take a little longer and uses the resource. The logout, used correctly, gets you right back to town very quickly as you just smash that enter key and get straight back into the action. But closing out of the game just adds a few seconds where you have to reboot the game, and can also these little mistakes can kind of rattle you a little bit as well, just give you a little bit of jitters. But the nerves on the stage, it's...
I mean, I saw the smile. I saw he immediately smiled.
He's like, oops.
That's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's fine.
It might be, though.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to freak out tie23he. Okay, listen, last 엑자일콘, we brought a lot of attention to tie23he right before the race. And I'm sure he's focusing on not listening this time. But I do know, in fact, that during his practice, he was blasting the caster voices the whole way through.
Love it.
He can, in fact, hear us. And he practiced in that way for every single one of the qualifiers. And he said it was super effective.
Yeah.
And he doesn't afraid of anything anymore.
So what we're talking about is tie23he was talking in the past about the idea that something that's very true, which is like playing the game up on stage, the bright studio lights shining on you, the crowd, the casters speaking over you, distracting you, an uncomfortable, different setup, a different desk, all of this stuff makes a big difference. I know this time that a lot of players bought their own kit this time, and tie23he talked about practicing in adverse conditions intentionally in order to prepare for the race. And I love that level.
I think probably all of them did.
Acting kind of. getting into character for being here live and in such a foreign environment for racing, not in the comfort of your own home, because it's a very different thing. But sometimes these things can also bring out the best in people too, right?
These are going to be crazy times, though. I'm just
really
watching all these shrines. That density is ridiculous. You really, in these early acts, you really care about getting as many mobs as possible, because every mob that you get is one less mob that you have to worry about later on, because eventually the players will outlevel the zones significantly to the point where a penalty will kick in and they won't be getting as much XP. At that point, all that you're going to worry about is keeping up your flash, making sure you stay alive, and leap slamming to... Oh, sorry. I thought I saw something, but I didn't. Just into the sunset. Leap slamming into the sunset.
Nice. ixail picking up a nice alchemy in the caverns. Very nice. Able to craft something up here, and actually moving up to a perfect time for a bit of management as they wait for Val to arrive. The next major boss the players are moving towards at this point is an excellent time to do a little bit of crafting and things like that. So we'll maybe be able to get a little bit of an assessment of where the players are at gear-wise. Everyone's got their gear slots filled. Havoc's gear looking a little bit ramshackle in places. You know, a rarity amulet's not necessarily the thing you want, but gear in each slot is honestly a blessing in a race like this when you're going so fast. Sometimes you can be like, oh, I didn't have gloves equipped this whole time. Certainly, but oh my god, those acceleration shrines are just everywhere.
They are everywhere. This is rigged, right? Can we get confirmation? Is this rigged?
Can we get confirmation of that? tie23he is the first to activate Val here and is doing a little bit of that inventory management. We see a little bit of gear swapping, throwing some steel greaves on the ground that doesn't need. Looks like he's got some 3-link setup action there. I don't see...
I see a fusing for tie23he. I don't see a chance or a fusing for ixail.
He's got his 8 transmutes already sorted, though, which is so good, because that's actually really early. They need him by Solaris and in the next act. So he's got that currency squared away, which any extra can be used for crafting. So very good stuff there. So ixail going into that Val fight. Second, tie23he is halfway, a little bit into the Val fight here. The Val fight can have a little bit of variance depending on if Val decides to stick around or dip early in the fight. And so far looking fairly cooperative for tie23he. Did duck away for one moment there, but goes into an ice casting phase, which is the perfect time for tie23he to secure the kill there in very short order. We'll see how things go for ixail down in the bottom left now. And so far, so good. He did duck away there just before dying, though, which is a little bit unfortunate, losing a little bit of time to that.
Yeah, and he's seeing. I mean, as you're fighting Val, it's not exactly the most engaging fight for these players. He's got a big hitbox. It's easy to hit those magma orbs. But one thing that might have bothered some of these players is seeing tie23he to be the first person to enter Act 3. As Act 3, again, the game becomes a little bit more difficult. Act 1 tends to be the most difficult act. Act 2 is kind of on the easier side, so I'm pretty sure that there's a big side of relief for a lot of these players. Oh, tie23he. Oh, what a layout. Wait a minute, did we see that? I completely was not seeing that.
How is there no connection over there? we haven't seen too many zone misreads or big dead ends that I've noticed, at least. And tie23he unfortunately gets a very big one there and has to backtrack of basically an entire zone there.
That is crazy big.
Unfortunate. Not what he wants at this point, where he's just a little bit of a zone behind the other players. So don't want to be having those situations in order to get that catch up. He's still got plenty of time to catch up though, and we'll see how he does as he moves into the Val kill. Just now, he's got a little bit of time. We can take a look at his gear. We see tie23he filling out one of the clusters there, and I did actually want to talk about one of the things here that the players are taking advantage of. So you'll notice that they have Leap Slam, and earlier in the game, a lot of them will have been weapon swapping over to melee weapons because you need a melee weapon in order to Leap Slam. Dual wielding is faster, and certain weapon types are faster. Now you'll see, for example, on Havoc's screen right now, you can see an axe and a sword, and that's the ideal setup. Interestingly, though, in the current racing setup, the players will actually use that for spellcasting as well, and that's because there is a very cool dual wielding node that gives attack and cast speed, so both that movement speed and damage for their spells, but also the mastery, when they take that full cluster, can give 50% increased damage, which is a huge amount of damage at this early point of the game, if you're using two different weapons. So that's why they have that sword and axe. Such a cute and interesting little thing that the players have discovered and taken advantage of here that's created a kind of a unique little racing style. So very cool to see.
2 shrines for tie23, 2 shrines from Exile, but Exile, no acceleration. But he is catching up. It's very close. tie23 will be the first person to take down, well, almost take down Piety as she jumps
ship. We'll see her again.
Exile right behind tie23. You can see that vendor movement is so clean. You can see him running halfway across the screen while talking to the vendor, giving him a chance to do that in town, so trade up your inventory and then keep moving. Again, these are the sort of tricks that you really have to nail, and it's very difficult because the timing is a little bit different in the live setting for sure.
There's some excellent movement going on for Havoc, I've been noticing, moving through some tricky zones with a lot of doors. And the way the players are working is they're doing the Leap Slam and then chasing it with the Frostblink 2, which is an instant skill, to just cancel that little bit of animation, and it'll just look like they're actually just levitating sometimes.
Oh yeah.
As they move through the zone, just fly multiple screens across the zone. But it's really hard to do that perfectly whilst turning corners and going through doors, and the doors are closed. But the best players can do that, and Havoc was just crushing it through Crematorium there. And Exile moving very quickly through sewers with an acceleration shrine as well. Another one!
This is not right. Well, this is a very important zone. The sewers, it's because it's where the rats live. But also because you need the bus. You got to pick up the busts.
Yeah, they want those extra passes.
It's very important. That was another aspect of the qualifiers that was very different for different players. Some players were going for those busts and getting that extra passive. Some other players, not so much, as I believe Havoc was dropping low.
Yeah, he got caught in a blue pack there. There can be some dangerous monsters here in the sewers. Some of those undying grapplers and things like that, but he gets through there all right. A little bit of help from the shrines. Oh, nice, look like a rare 2-stone ring maybe, and the, rare boots as well. Rings the ghost cool. Maybe for a bit of, oh, there's that acceleration shrine.
Yep.
Oh, yes, get that. Nice.
Yeah, the rings are so important. As I began to talk about it a little bit, Act 3 is where the game becomes difficult, but it's not necessarily because the mobs hit harder or anything like that. It's because they're beginning to use different types of attacks, different abilities, different elements. And so for that reason, you're going to have to prepare your inventory to be able to switch out the different setups of gear. If you're fighting Dominus, you might want some lightning resistance. If you're running through Crematorium, you want fire resistance, right? If you're fighting Piety, well, depending on the player, you might go with different sort of setups, as I do believe the players will be able to still abuse some of the portal tech to exit the fight and reset the portals, which might make Piety significantly easier than how other players would do it typically.
Yeah, certainly won't be doing that in Path of Exile 2, but for now they can take advantage of the portals. We'll see how that goes. Got tie23he moving through his sewer kill there, getting back into a little bit of a corner, but uses the opportunity to kill a few extra monsters, so not too bad a situation to be in. Havoc just picking up, guess what? It's another acceleration shrine in the battlefront there. He does leave, and that was a little bit of a... he's backtracking to do his Solaris, I see. Didn't really get to take advantage of the acceleration shrine, it seems, as he moves into Solaris there, killing off a few extra packs as he's really trying to chase down that rare monster, taking quite a while. He does get the kill and gets a nice level there just before moving into the next zone. So I believe we saw it there. I think, was that taking the minion damage is the current strategy on the tree there as well, the minion damage scaling to get a little bit of extra damage scaling, and moving across to pick up those nodes there as well. So you can get you can convert minion damage over to scale your spell damage.
Well, we're definitely going to be seeing some differences here. I mean, tie23 in the past was known to be a player that just got so good that he could afford to pick up life nodes, you know? It does give you that little bit of more life, gives you a little bit of stun prevention, which allows you to move around. Obviously, it's safer. But if you're ahead, if you're controlling the situation, if you feel like you don't have to get more damage, you have enough to clear and you have enough to do those boss fights, then yeah, getting a little bit more defenses, why not? And Act 3 is the perfect act to do so, as you're going to have a much better understanding of where you're at in terms of RNG, how your gear is looking, and this is already the beginning of when these guys are thinking about when is that moment where I no longer kill mobs to get XP to improve my character and instead try to progress as much as possible towards Innocence and Kitava. And as we...
Not interested in those rare boots there, just straight up vendors them, not even worried about it. He's set, he's looking pretty comfortable with his gear right now. But we just saw the end of Solaris, in which the players will pick up, unless they don't need it, but typically it's always needed, the crafting recipe that adds fire damage, which includes that fire damage to spells, that they can actually craft on their melee weapons, and it's a crucial part of this strategy. However, we mentioned earlier, it does need 8 transmutes, which is a lot of currency to get when you're moving this fast.
4 per weapon.
Yeah, 4
You're not always going to be crafting both weapons.
True, true. So 4 to 8, depending on the current weapon situation. But you don't tend to find spell damage axes or swords, so
yeah,
it can be really nice to be able to craft that and actually get quite a lot of damage. It actually comes at a really crucial time as well, because you get that at Solaris, and if you have the currency sorted straight away, you can get that craft done just in time for the Piety and then Dominus fights, and those can be really tough if you don't have a lot of damage, especially Piety as she moves through her phases. But if you can get a lot of damage, you can kill her really quickly and it becomes a lot easier and a lot safer. So timing on that, it can be rather crucial. I haven't seen Havoc go to the hideout yet though, so we'll see if he goes and does that in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, if he can take his time to do so, why rush it? You have all the time in the world. They're around the 37-minute mark, which is really fast. I mean, these acceleration shrines are playing a major role. Obviously, the players have improved tremendously. We have a little bit of a difficult fight now for Exile. That's going to be Gravicious, who does a lot of fire damage. You do need to kill him for that previously mentioned incredibly crucial Chance Orb, or excuse me, Chance Orb that then you use to buy Cremation. But I don't see a Chance Orb for Exile. I didn't see it using either. Yeah,
that can be tough. The players will be transitioning from Magma Orb, or Rolling Magma as it's known these days, into Cremation and Armageddon Brand with a little bit of Desecrate to create corpses. And that does require a level 28. We just saw tie is the first one to reach 27. So the players are getting close to that point. So we'll see the skill change. And that happens actually basically at Dominus usually, maybe sometimes at Piety. So
oh my goodness. Oh, Exile killing a tormented rare mob. You can see the desperation. Unfortunately, this is the worst case scenario. I mean, I don't want to doom her too much, but there is a very small possibility that Exile is going to run into a problem that unfortunately doesn't have a solution outside of RNG. Typically, the RNG aspects even out, but the Chance Orb is something that just it does not have another solution.
Yeah, certainly you can get by with just one or the other on Cremation or Armageddon Brand, but it's certainly not ideal. So yeah, it can be a little bit of an upset potentially there. We'll see how he goes. tie23 Killer moving through his docks now. It's a good place to pick up a little bit of extra XP. He took a skip across there. We'll see whether it's the correct decision and whether he gets his quest objective or gets caught in a corner.
tie23 Killer, he's got 2 Chance Orbs. Maybe he can trade Exile.
That would be a first.
I mean, hey, they didn't tell us it's against the rules. I'm just saying.
Huh? One other player has another. They're right next to each other. It'd be pretty easy to negotiate.
It's time to vote. First, Jonathan.
Yep. We are Lunaris Temple with Havoc right now with 2 shrines. He's got a Diamond Shrine and I think a Replenishing Shrine there. So a little bit of extra safety and damage there, and he's picking up those big fire damage nodes as well. So lots of damage happening now. players just start getting faster and faster at this point. It's actually crazy. I'm Exile looking the first to Piety. Let's see how she goes. She can be a little uncooperative if she teleports into a bad phase. She's standing there to cast her Ball Lightnings, which is pretty much ideal. She stays in location. Ooh, a short teleport is perfect.
Holy.
A very rapid kill there for I'm Exile. Very nice. Pretty much ideal.
That was incredible. Yeah, you really want to kill it during that.
tie23, nearly perfect as well. Takes a big hit at the end there, but he's okay. It was basically as fast as possible. I don't think we even saw any Ice or Fire Form Piety for either of them.
As long as she dies within that duration of the War Banner placement, yeah, that's going to be very important.
Done.
I mean, I'm Exile. I can see that there is one solution. You can vendor a bunch of rares, get alterations, then convert those into jewelers, and then get a fusing, and then purchase the Chance Orb.
Yeah, it's a multi-step process.
Yeah, but that's 8 alterations.
Yeah, that's the deterministic.
And you gotta be picking up so many items. There's so many things to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Dominus kills with Magma Orb, and it was okay. You can still put up with that, but once you get to those Act 4 bosses, that's really when the game ramps up, things become difficult, and you need as much damage as possible to shorten those fights and burst through them. As tie23 done with his Piety, and Havoc will be there shortly.
Very nice stuff. tie23 moving through a little bit of a dangerous spot there with the Quill Beasts. Jumping in, they're moving so fast that sometimes it can be difficult to know what's on the next screen, where you're going to be in the blink of an eye. And if you're already killing things at the same time, then sometimes those Quill Beasts can catch you off guard, but he does manage to survive the hit with some very timely flask use there.
And we're heading into some extremely difficult zones now. So these mobs heading up through Scepter of God have lightning damage. They can shock you for a large amount, but they also freeze, so you have to worry about that. Once you get to Dominus, you need lightning resistance for Dominus, but you don't want to die to the fire mob that jumps on you and does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So this is where that gear preparation matters the most, because face tanking Dominus is a big aspect. And as I'm Exile is looking to be most likely the first person who will reach Dominus, I think he will be level 28, no cremation, and he's got a little bit of a history with Dominus, as we've discussed previously. Did die on it once during the qualifiers. Actually, his qualifier that he ended up winning. He can afford to lose a little bit of time here, but he can't afford to die, I don't think, considering the cremation situation.
So we're seeing the first phase of Dominus fight now, in which a bunch of different unique Guardians are summoned, and they're not too bad. If you can kill them in a group, that can certainly speed things up. There's a little bit of a danger there, but I'm Exile getting through quite cleanly, and you'll notice that he's pre-placing the Flame Totem, the fireballs and everything, because he knows where they're going to spawn, so that damage is already there and going as soon as they're spawned in. But here comes Dominus for the actual first phase, and you want to be able to basically just take him down before he even teleports away here if you can. And we'll see if I'm Exile manages to do that. It's a short teleport, still kind of in range of his current position, and he gets the kill very nice. You see he's already moved over to the right spot for the second phase there. tie23 going through his first phase now, and we'll see how it goes for him, while I'm Exile does a little bit of gear prep ready for the second phase there. tie23 dodges the slam, which he kind of just locked into, as like sometimes they'll use a skill even when they're already dead, but he already had him taken down there. So tie23 moves into the second phase as well. They're so close! I'm Exile, second phase here. Let's see how he goes.
Yeah, you can still see that it's a pretty clean kill for I'm Exile, who is slightly ahead.
Very nice.
Very good job by him. Dominus doesn't move a lot, so the Magma, Rolling Magma is still so effective. tie23 taking a little bit more time despite having the cremation pre-placed. How's this happening? And the Herald of Thunder is on the ground.
Yeah, he's going back to town. He's got a little bit of extra stuff to do there. This is interesting because tie23 known for the coolest Dominus kill of all time.
Oh, yeah.
In which he killed Dominus without even looking at him and just teleported to the next zone within the blink of an eye. It was something, it was supremely cool. But a bit more reserved and safe here playing it today with the portal pre-place and everything, actually. I like it. He's a little more conservative there, perhaps. But imexile taking a slight half-zone lead here. We're starting to see now where things are starting to shake out a little bit more in terms of who is leading the pack. And very close between imexile and tie23. Just a little maybe edge there for imexile. It can be difficult to tell if someone's got a little bit of a gear edge that might play out down the road. But Havoc looked like he's taking third spot with tie23he just a little bit behind him right now. Havoc moving into his second phase of dominance as we speak.
Yeah, and a big part of this is also something that actually Ty ended up pretty much inventing, which is aura management. So you're going to be seeing players switching to determination whenever they need a little bit more safety, and then playing with anger when they need damage. Typically, I might have reminded Ty of doing so. Well, maybe, no, I'm not quite sure. He was switching out something. But yeah, typically when you're running around and trying to go as fast as possible, you're going to be running around with determination as you do have enough damage. But then on those bosses, when you need to maximize your damage and really burst them down as quickly as possible, you're going to be running anger. And another acceleration strike for Ty. Oh, okay.
He's going so fast. Unique dropped at the edge of the screen. He didn't even look at it. He's just like, I've got places to be, mate. I'm not even going to look at what that was. I don't even know what it was.
Exile's getting another. Okay,
like
this is great.
Look at one of these shrines.
That is. Oh, Ty, I believe he clicked exit game.
I think we had another misclick on the wrong button there. But he gets
game's
back
faster.
Yeah, that's nice fast load speed there. Oof, very nice.
It's just fast here.
Yeah. All right, we're
he does have the banner. Okay, that was a slight mistake, not a. Yeah, I was thinking for a second because they're clicking so fast. I mean, a lot of times Exile is pretty much doing it instantly. Whenever he picks up an item, he immediately clicks to change the character selection screen. And yeah, it just looks super scary. I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
I've done that before where I've went to click up the quest item, logged out, and then I realized, oh, I didn't actually pick up.
Okay, Exile's getting so many acceleration shrines, I'm pretty sure he just ran past one. I mean, it was a really dangerous pack, and he knows that he's very close to the exit, but still.
Too fast even for acceleration shrines at this point.
That's kind of ridiculous.
tie23he moving into his dominus fight now, taking out the ads. Ooh, very quickly. His damage is looking very on point. That is what he needs to be able to get through this fight nice and quick there. He's got his cremation and Armageddon brand running there, doing lots of damage. Being able to pre-post those cremations as the mobs spawn is a big help in getting that damage preloaded and to burst them down right as they appear. Havoc moving fast right now. Oh my god, we are at the pinnacle of kill monster fast, both in terms of these races, but also in terms of the acceleration shrines that have been seemingly hand-placed by the developers here.
tie23he's inventory looking like a little bit of a mess. He takes a moment to get a sip.
Nice.
It might be chaotically organized, you know? It just might be one of those things where he knows what he needs, he knows what he's got, and he's not going to be picking up that much more. He does seem pretty set up, which is very nice. It's going to give him an opportunity to catch up as imexile with another accelerate. He's got another one. It's been every zone in Act 4. Huh?
Actually nuts. tie23he gets his dominus kill down. Second
Well, skip from Ty.
Oh,
he gets it. There we go.
Yeah, very cool.
Sorry, guys. It's just going by so quickly. There are very important skips in Act 4 in the Resto zone specifically and in Combs zone as well. But sometimes you see players, even though they have the possibility to go for that skip with a lightning warp that you're later on going to be needing as well, imexile gets another acceleration.
That skill's still going.
Well, even this, there's more accelerations than less at this point. They've had acceleration active more than less.
It's not just confirmation bias, I don't think. Like,
yeah.
Someone will go through and count and be like, yeah, that was like 19 acceleration shrines and like 2.
Rigged. But yeah, sometimes you're going to be skipping, like you're seeing on Havoc's screen. He went for the skip. And sometimes if you need a little bit more XP, those cages do offer a lot of it. Again, you can see it on Havoc's screen at the top right. Ooh, a little bit of movement there, but it's still clean. A big skip from him. Gets both of them. Very nicely done. Yeah, with all these shrines, I think they just have so much XP. None of these players are going to choose to actually fight the monsters at this point.
Buckle just snapped out of existence there by Havoc. He's always a fast boss fight, but that was something else. It's like our commentary can't even keep up with with explaining the various skips and things like that. They're moving too fast with acceleration strides. But yes, there is some crucial skips there that it's too late to explain. They've already done it.
Yep.
But we do have on Calm's Stronghold the potential for a huge skip, actually, where the lava falls can be jumped up from the right angle, bypassing sometimes up to half of the zone. There can be 1 or 2 of those, and they're much easier to do with Lightning Wall, but they can be done in some of the ways. It can be a little difficult. But I don't believe we saw any from IMEXILE. I don't think I noticed one. We'll see if any of the other players manage some zone.
Oh, Exile. Yeah, see, this is the big problem when you have to use Magma Orb. When you don't have that cremation, you're having to continuously cast.
Oh, that is brutal.
And yeah, you're just standing around,
winning,
you're in danger.
Look at him, though. He's still winning, though.
Man, but the frustration.
Yeah,
I can see him boiling.
It's going to take its toll a little bit more and just bleed away his lead if he gets stuck in that situation for too long.
I'm double checking unless Exo had a different zone with Einhard. There was no skip in the most crucial part of the Combs Dream.
Yeah, sometimes there just isn't the opportunity, and it looks like
it's a pretty low chance.
Yeah.
It's like 10%, but we might be seeing it here.
Yeah.
Oh, he leaps it!
I don't think I've ever seen the leap slam on there.
Okay, buddy, relax. Most players are getting lightning warps for this. He leaps it.
He's like, don't even need the lightning warp. I did not even know you could leap slam up.
I had no idea.
Specific ones maybe that can be just leap slammed up. Yeah, I have to get the right pixel though.
That was cool.
That was very cool.
I don't think I've ever seen that yet.
I love seeing things for the first time ever as a commentator live at the Exalt.
But that's the difference. This is why we're sitting here and they're sitting over there. They know every little detail about what needs to be done here.
Hundreds of practice runs, finding all of
Havoc. Lightning warping, he's got the acceleration, gets through. But you see,
not as fast though,
that was pretty fast, but it still took a while longer than Ty's jump. And the difference in understanding of the game comes through there. And every single second is going to count, as IMEXILE will be the first person to enter a very difficult zone to run. That's going to be Belly of the Beast 1 and Belly of the Beast 2. Combined, both of those zones, I think, have like 20-something layouts, and they're pretty hard.
I guess
mobs get hard.
Zone. Both the zone layouts and the monsters make me very anxious in this zone that they're moving through right now. In particular, those little creatures that stick their spikes out and do a nasty puncture. Sometimes you can just leap into the middle of the pack and they all just whack you at once. It could be a real problem. But IMEXILE getting through pretty cleanly there. I was a bit worried about one of the packs he was jumping through.
Ziggy, we have crossed the 50-minute mark, and players are getting dangerously close to Act 5. Yeah, because Act 5 is very quick. If you guys think this is fast, Act 5 is absolutely ridiculous. Everything is set up. They are just going at that point. Killing mobs offers nothing for them. They're not getting XP. They're just getting flash charges. And so once we're there, it's going to get ridiculous, and the time is insane. And from the qualifiers that we talked about before, nobody got a time that was lower than 1 hour and 6 minutes. This might be under an hour, which was something that a lot of players thought was physically impossible. Nobody's ever even seen a time like that. I can spoil this now. I do know, in fact, that IMEXILE was getting averages of about 1 hour and 1, 1 hour and 2 sometimes. And when he put all of his best times together from all of his runs, he just barely managed to get it under 1 hour. Doing that in a live setting, despite the really potent acceleration shrines, is just so impressive.
That's absolutely crazy. I would lose it to see that today. It's such a ridiculous time.
100%. They're taking down Piety. Exile already done, having to wait for her to finally be talkable. tie23he will be the first person, though, to get into the Harvest.
That's interesting. A little bit of catch-up there, because IMEXILE had that half zone lead pretty consistently for a while there.
Yeah.
But, like we said, that advantage was just slowly, ever so slowly bleeding away a percentage point at a time. And wow, that was like simultaneous entry into the Chevron fight here.
Will we see the difference between the single target?
Oh, that's very cool to see side by side there. And look,
holy, oh, wait a minute. Maybe Exile didn't want to find a Magma Orb. Maybe he practiced so much that he knows, or he didn't need to find the cremation. Yeah. Maybe he practiced every worst case scenario. Maybe he practiced a scenario in which he actually doesn't get it, And, you know, instead of just crying about it like we are over here, you just win.
I love the idea of practicing for the adverse runs where things don't go your way, actually.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, because those things, that happens on the day and you aren't prepared for it, then that can be a real shock. tie23 does get through that one a little bit faster from the looks of things, but it's too close to call, really. We have the Malagaro fight coming up now. Just started a little bit ahead for tie23. Takes quite a bit of damage as he leaps through there. So about half, but he's looking pretty confident. He's okay. He's not worried.
Havoc reaches the waypoint. He will now be fighting the mini bosses as well. You don't want to be doing any zone resetting in this one, as anytime any of the mini bosses die and then you have to re-enter a new zone, even though you have the pieces in your inventory, you can't actually access Malachi. So
yeah,
very important to keep everything under control here.
All right, we've got a big Malachi fight. There's been times where this has been very frightening, and this might be one of those times as imExile eats, I believe, one of the throws there and takes a lot of damage.
It's so hard with that orb.
Yeah. Let's see how he goes, since he is so close to tie23. We can get a little bit more of a gauge on a slightly larger boss, just how these two are shaping up against each other. And at this point, it could come down to the actual Kitava fight itself, which would be super thrilling.
So much shotgunning on Kitava, though.
Yeah, it's very
Any
quick.
moment that goes by for imExile, I'm sure he is praying.
You want to be getting into that Kitava fight before your opponent.
Yeah.
Yep.
100% so.
And these are the times to secure that little bit of a lead that they need to win this race.
And a little bit about the Malachi fight. It is something probably that's going to look easy when you're just watching the way that these players are doing it over here, but it is very challenging. The tentacles, they deal cold damage. The traps, they do fire and lightning damage, and they have a high amount of crit. There's a lot of physical damage coming up from Malachi with those little blobs that he's throwing around. Eventually, they're going to be shotgunning pretty badly once he kills the final heart. So this is a challenging fight for sure. tie23 is done with it, though.
Yeah, he gets the boss kill down good ways ahead of imExile, actually. So we've seen a bit of a flip here in the positions, and tie23 using that lead, actually, to go back and buy himself a little bit of extra safety. Some of those spare transmutes now coming in handy as he goes and crafts some extra crucial resistances for this last little push into Act 5 here. There's one little bit of zone to go here through the snow, basically just a bit of leap slamming. And then we're into Act 5, which is back-to-back boss fights and the end of the race before you know it, in a blink of an eye.
tie23 waiting for that portal to open. And I mean, being in the lead is not always the best thing in a race. That's something that I've always admired about Havoc. You know, sometimes you're leading and you don't appreciate it enough. The stress gets to you and you end up making some mistakes. That hasn't been the case for Exile. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case for tie23. We are entering parts of the game that he previously has shown he needed more practice in.
Yeah, these later acts can be difficult to practice because you get inclined to restart when something goes wrong and practice those early acts, and I've certainly seen players get in that loop. But it's difficult to commit to finishing the runs and practicing the late game as much as the early game. So it can be a little rougher here at the end here. Just seeing, what do we got? Is that level 35 for tie23?
That is level 35.
Just saw level 33 for imExile, so that's actually a pretty substantial difference here. We talked about it earlier, but players decide on a point to stop, not the unique drop there, to stop leveling up, essentially, intentionally, to like start killing less. And where you do that and how much XP you kind of get after that point can make a little bit of a difference here.
Very much so. A difficult zone. Control blocks. Needs a good read. A great jump from imExile there. He knows exactly where to go. There you go. That skip is so important to know about. That's something that people found out pretty late into some of the qualifiers, and everybody started practicing the zone. It's so cool to see that they did in fact figure it out and can replicate that skip 100% of the time. Very nicely done, saving themselves a lot of time from both tie23 and imExile, who's just now getting his Eyes of Zeal. Yeah, so I mean, I mean, they're not getting acceleration shrines every time, at least.
Yeah, anymore. No, we seem to have run out of acceleration shrines. Sorry, that was the supply has been consumed.
I want to say I'm happy, but speed. It's like I want him to go fast, but at the same time I want the event to last, so I don't know.
That's it.
Hey guys, can you slow down? Come on.
Yeah, Kruger, give us another 10 minutes, maybe. Please. No, it's not going to happen. Look at him go. We have a couple of very dangerous zones here. The monsters in here, we have seen upsets of people jumping into a blue pack and getting taken down. Certainly, at this point, you're starting to get really under-leveled. So we just saw tie23 hit level 35. It's a level 42 zone, 7 levels under.
And if you look at their HP, you know, the Exile's got 742, I believe. tie23 has 755, very close HP, but none of those values are close to what you would have in an average player's run, I think.
No, yeah. The regular player don't usually equal the zone level, maybe a little bit over if you're doing the mechanics, right? But no, that's not the case here. tie23, 7 levels under. Exile, even more, like 9 levels under.
Yeah, Exile knows that he needs to cut corners. We were talking about how much he was keeping up, but the cremation is just such a big deal. He's rushing, he's charging. He still can win. It is going to be very close, but it might boil down to a mistake from tie23, a man who has shown at the previous ExileCon he doesn't make mistakes.
No, he's very much all about securing that big win, and I think he wants to be in the lead. That's the position he wants.
Yeah.
Not to be like trying to play the catch-up, as we've seen from some of the qualifiers. But here he goes into the Innocence fight. It can be a very dangerous fight, but players have kind of got this one down pretty comfortably lately. We haven't seen too many upsets recently, so hopefully we won't see any big deals here. There is some ad phase here that they have to go through, which is relatively safe, and you'll notice that they know that they don't really have to chase down all those bubble mobs and things like that as well.
You say that, Ziggy, but we do see a little bit of a difference between those two players in their strategy and approach and the confidence that they both have. As one player clicked a certain item, as I know tie23 can hear me, so I'm not going to say for him to click it too. You can't click it anymore, Ty. No portals. But Exile's got a portal present in case something happens.
Yeah, the little safety portal there.
Yeah, he can recover.
It is nice to have a few portals to go into that Kitava fight coming up, so hopefully all the players are squared away for that by that time. But we see Havoc actually making, I feel like, a nice bit of a catch-up there as he's moving through the Chamber of Innocence himself now, so he's not far away from that Innocence fight himself.
We did just cross the 1 hour mark, so it's not going to be under 1 hour, but it will be very, very, very close.
I mean, you might think, oh yeah, they've still got to kill Innocence, and then they've got to like go to Kitava. It's like literally like it's 3 leap slams away after you finish Innocence.
Yep.
So we're not far away, just minutes away from closing this out and seeing who's going to take not only top position, but second and third are also a big deal, as there is some significant prize money on the line here. No pressure in the last moments of the race here, guys, but woo!
I mean, we're talking a lot about Exile and tie23, but look who's fighting Innocence as well. Hey. You know, normally we'd be full screening somebody, focusing on them a little bit more, but it is just so close with tie23 also catching up and doing incredibly well. His management of those items, of those auras and abilities is just so supreme. He's always the player that shows his magnificence in the later parts of the race. And tie23 will be the first person to enter.
Oh, Havoc went very low there to some projectiles from Innocence.
Havoc does have a little bit of a history with Innocence.
Yeah.
He has had some situations in the past that were tricky.
Oh, and so again, Havoc, please.
No flash. Oh, Havoc!
Oh, absolutely brutal. My heart shatters.
The devastation. Did he have a portal up? I don't think so. He doesn't have any portals in his inventory. That's going to be a full minute and a rerun from the waypoint.
Oh, you can see the countdown on the screen now. And
this allows tie23 to catch up and puts Havoc almost certainly out of the top 2 placements.
Yeah, the battle for 3rd and 4th is going to be a big race between Havoc and tie23 now, as this gives tie23 the killer to even it up. And Havoc is going to have to fight real hard from this. He's going to have to do some extra running there. The lack of the portal, the court in place, absolutely brutal.
Oh man, that is going to be...
His HP, 678.
I'm sure he's most certainly brewing, as tie23 and Exile are currently in the ossuary neck and neck. Oh, Ziggy, I hate to say it, might just boil down to the cremation.
Yeah, like we said, that advantage that he had for so long just split away slowly. There's almost imperceptible differences in the end. But, oh, no, I'm Exile, please, no. He almost goes for the logout, but he doesn't.
The acceleration strike, though.
Acceleration strike is just like, I'm going to hop around. I'm going to go around. Oh, my God.
Ty doesn't have the acceleration. He's jumping as quickly as possible. He did get past that back. Oh, my God, it's so close.
I'm Exile, how did you survive that? It was so close. What an incredible save then from... That would have broken my heart to see that. This is so close here.
Both players skipping the shrine. I didn't even get an opportunity to see what it was. I believe they both saw whatever that was, but they need to get to Kitava. We are closing in
I
here.
can't even tell who's going to be getting there first at this point.
Impenetrable don't need that shrine either. No mobs will be killed on this roof.
Maximize speed.
Not even Kitava. He doesn't actually die.
tie23 like 1 second ahead of I'm Exile.
Oh my.
This might be the closest finish of all time here.
I'm Exile types no chance.
What are you talking about? Every chance.
He's talking about the chance, Ziggy. He can't win. He knows he's going.
Literally no chance. No, you've got this, I'm Exile.
It's neck and neck. It's so close.
Stay there, dude. Do everything. Eat, squeeze every damage.
It's gonna.
Oh my God.
I believe.
The animations are in sync.
This is so close.
Oh my God.
There's so much damage coming out of him.
Oh, excellent dodges from I'm Exile there. tie23 securing this phase just a little bit ahead there. Yeah, we're seeing that slight lead.
Such a big flask difference.
Oh, the huge tie23, no, don't die.
Exile, he waits it out. A second portal coming up for Exile. The ad phase begins. Ty dodging a hand sweep. Oh my God, did Ty get it? No, that's the next hard phase. Ty playing it safe, making sure he's dodging everything.
Oh, no, so low! What
my God!
10 hit points! No, tie23, please! Oh my God. He's okay.
Exile dodging, tie23, closing it out here. Will he safely play in? Kitava falls, I believe that's the last phase. tie23 will take it yet again.
Well done, tie23. Oh my God, could not be closer. And the heart-wrenching near miss in the final seconds there. tie23 is your grand champion for ExileCon 2023. Oh my God, Orion is perfect.